Mm-hmm. 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 Ever since I was able to pick up a pencil, I have been an artist. My developmental years were filled with paints and crayons and everything I could get my hands on to assist in the creation of something beautiful. And I loved looking at art. Paintings by the masters, Goya, Rembrandt, Gentileschi, they helped teach me to look into life and find the art. For such a young boy, I was able to draw profound connections into the art, and while some kids watched cartoons and others played with G.I. Joes, I observed and related to these masterpieces in my life. Looking at the masters, I also quickly grew an appreciation for the female form in a way unlike most boys my age. They would look at pictures of Pamela Anderson or Jenna Jameson, while I was more captivated by images of Venus and Queen Elizabeth I. Sexuality meant little to me, and for this, I was ostracized by my hormonally enraged peers. But I didn't care. Reclusion was almost a choice for me. I related better to the artistic masters of yore. I could see my parents' war-torn marriage reflected in the paintings of battles. My feelings of loneliness were shared with me by the work of Van Gogh. From all of this, I also discovered the beauty of life and all the moments within it. A mother's bittersweet face when holding her newborn child, the first skin knee, a boy's first fight. While some people drew pictures of flowers and fruit, I wanted to capture people in a key point of their life, for therein hung the true beauty of what it means to be human. This, it soon occurred to me, was the beginning of my style. I define style as what an individual artist desires to capture and convey about the world around him, though through no conscious choice of his own. Why did Monet love painting water lilies with lots of little bits of paint? Through no choice of his own, I'm sure. He more or less just desired to for whatever reason, be it his upbringing, fond memories of such places, or what have you. And that's the thing about style. Learn the style of any famous artist and you'll quickly be able to recognize any work by them, be it in the way they create their work, the lighting techniques or paint they use, or the subject of the work. Further shaping my style, I began experimenting with messier mediums. Don't get me wrong, I still loved the fine line of a sharp pencil, but there were inks out there, charcoals, pastels, the blackest blacks and the reddest reds that no pencil could give me. Sure, my hands would get messy when making my art, but so what? It was the style that life had shaped for me. It was who I was. Edgar Allan Poe said, "Were I called on to define, very briefly, the term art, I should call it the reproduction of what the senses perceive in nature through the veil of the soul." The soul. Just about every religion has some kind of belief in the soul, and while my religious convictions are curious to even myself, I can soundly say that I believe in the soul, for it is what keeps man from being just another beast. The fear in a child's eyes as his mother raises a hand to strike him, the sigh while turning off the light before bed, that distant look in the eyes of a woman taking her dying breath. All proof of the soul, if you ask me. For this reason, I wanted to dedicate my art to capturing the soul in all its bright, exciting beauty. It's said that the eyes are the window to the soul, and I agree. Why is it that you can tell a difference in the eyes of a dead man versus a living one? Because his soul has escaped, and now he is but a body. In that final moment, however, right before the soul leaves, there's a moment more beautiful than any masterpiece that will ever be painted. Debates go on and on about when life begins, and that's all fine and dandy, but what about when it ends? Some say it's when the brain shuts down, some say it's when the heart stops beating, but if you look in the eyes, you'll know. In those final moments, the soul is on the verge of entering paradise forever. What we see in the eyes of a dying man is that of excitement, of anticipation. That is why I dedicate my art to drawing not the living nor the dead, but the dying. At first I tried visiting hospitals and retirement centers, hoping the people in charge would respect my intent to portray the beauty of that last moment in these people's lives. Of course I wasn't understood, artists rarely are, and so I had to rethink my approach. I believe all souls want to escape their fleshy prisons. Therefore, I do not kill my models, rather, I assist the soul in achieving its freedom, and in return, it repays me by lingering just long enough for me to draw it. In that regard, the humans in my work aren't even the focus, it's the beauty in their dying eyes. As I go back through my past work, I recall very vividly the look in the eyes of each person. I see the way they laid still, so calm, despite being on the verge of something indescribably spectacular. I remember how their gazes looked beyond me, as if they could see heaven. And I can still see their eyes, thanking me. For I have set them free. Unfortunately, the world hardly sees it that way. I am not ashamed of my work, for I can see the beauty in what I do and what I capture. Think on this question for a second. Are the lives of a few people truly significant against the power of a masterpiece? The average lifespan of a human being in America is about 80 years, far inferior to the thousands of years a good work of art can thrive. When these people have long been forgotten and their souls have long been entered into heaven, my work will hang in museums. If I could, I would draw souls outside of their human prisons and prevent the complications my current style presents. However, the soul is impossible to perceive or portray on paper. That is why I must do what I do. Show the person letting go of their soul, while there is still a glimmer in their eyes, while there is still life. Mm-hmm.